beautiful jellyfish? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another real talk today that I am gonna be talking to you guys about a bunch of different things. These are some of my favorite videos to like film, honestly, because I can just be like completely like, hey, this is what's on my mind, and I just talk, and it makes me really happy that I get to do that for you guys. So, I went to a tournament, oh goodness, on this past Sunday, with my boyfriend Zane and one of our mutual friends, was one of Zane's best friends, and we were all playing Bloom Titan, actually. It was for a modern, Star City IQ, Super IQ or something like that. Ooh, let's get you guys a little more centered. There we go. So basically, it was so funny is, at one point, like, it was just the three of us who went. We went together. And originally it was gonna be, we're gonna have like 5 people in our car, and then 4 out of the 5 of us were all gonna be playing Bloom Titan. It was gonna be great. So we were all just gonna come to this card store, all of us playing Bloom. It was gonna be really funny. But it ended up only being the 3 of us, so we went to this Star City IQ, and oh goodness, so first round, we sit down. This is my second ever, like, competitive Magic event. The first was my, the PPTQ that I went to in July. So this is my first ever, like, big sort of, like, tournament. So, I go, and I don't really go to these things with the intention of being like, I'm gonna win and come in first. My whole thing is, like, this is my first time playing Bloom at a big event, and I wanted just to see how it did and stuff like that. Not a good day for Magic. I went 1-5. One of those games I actually could have won if I wasn't... I probably could have went 3, I don't know, it's like looking at the games, like one of the games I definitely could have won, I just was dumb and made a really stupid misplay, which I'll get to in a little bit, but first round I sit down, and I'm playing against this guy, and he's playing Tron. I don't really know how my Tron matchup is supposed to go. I feel like if I'm playing against green-red, and they just kind of sit there and, like, I'm not playing against the blue version, which has counterspells and stuff, I'm just playing against green-red, and they just take a really long time to set up or whatever, you know, I feel like I'm favorable, but if they get enough mana, if they generate enough mana, if they play Karn, especially Karn is really bad against, the deck, because the exiling cards from the hand is not as big of a deal as it is the things on the board. I've had people, like, get rid of my lands so I can't pay for my packs before. I've had things like that happen to me, so Karn is not super great against the deck, and things like that. So, Ugin, I guess, is pretty okay, because you can just, they can wipe your board, but then the next turn you can just cast a Primeval Titan and then just kill Ugin, or like whatever, so that's not really too much of a huge deal. So, Tron matchup happens, and we take a very long time for our first game. Our first game, I swear, took like half an hour, and sometimes if you play Magic, sometimes your rounds just take really long. I don't remember, honestly, the state of the game. The person I was playing against was a jerk. He was rushing my turns. Listen, if you want to remind the person, hey man, we only have like 5 minutes left or whatever, hey, it looks like we're about to go into turns, that's fine, but he was a jerk about it. He reminded me probably like 4 different times that I needed to hurry up with my turns. I did not say anything to him once. I never said, like, he was taking a bit for his turns. If you've ever played Bloom before, if you're familiar with Bloom in Modern, it is one of the hardest decks in Modern to play. It is a very hard deck. You have to consider a bunch of different things. It's very easy to grab wrong lands with this deck. It's very, very easy to do that. So you have to be very careful in what you do. And I'm not discrediting other Modern decks. I'm not saying that other Modern decks, a lot of other Modern decks are really hard. Affinity is really hard. What are other decks that are really hard? Burn is a really hard deck to play. There's a bunch of really hard decks to play. So I'm just saying that Bloom is hard to play. So if I take a while with my turns, it's because I'm deeply considering, like, you know, my options and stuff. However, I usually don't think that I'm unreasonable with how long I take. Listen, if someone were to tell me, like, hey, I think you're taking a while with your turns, I'd be like, okay, man, I'm sorry, like, but he was just being a jerk about it. So that was really not the ideal way to start off, and I ended up losing that round. I honestly, I don't remember if I could have won, and another thing that bothered me about that game is, when people call misplays afterwards, and I've talked about this a little bit before, listen, if you want to say, hey, I think you made a misplay here, whatever. The judge says, he's like, you made a misplay, like very pointedly, you made a misplay, and he was like, you had Slayer Stronghold and you could have given one of your Primeval Titans, so I was like, no, I was like, I didn't misplay, he had a Spellskite, and the judge was like, oh, and I was like, yep, I was like, I was like, very confidently, I was like, yes, I didn't make a misplay there, and like, that really bothers me when like, people try to call you off, like, they're so proud, like, yeah, look, man, I saw the board in a different way than you, and that really bothers me, so, and it was a judge too, I thought it was really unprofessional, to be honest. So that was first round. Oh goodness, second round when I played against Burn. I think I played against Burn. Second round I won. I have a very good Burn matchup. The other person just really couldn't do anything. It was just, they had me down. Like, a lot of times the thing that's interesting about Burn is that they'll get you down to a very low life total, and they'll think they have it, and then you just play a Primeval Titan in, like, one turn, and then the next turn you just kill them. Like, it's very easy to do that. A lot of times the Burn deck will, you know, be like, oh, you're not doing anything. I'll be like, I can kill you, and you know, so the deck has a really good Burn matchup, so I won that. The third round, I feel like I'm forgetting a round about what I played, but it's so not coming to me right now. Third round, I think I played against, oh my goodness, I am so blanking right now. I played against, oh yeah, no, I remember. I played against the Mirror for Bloom. By the way, if you have ever played against, a lot of Mirror matches, sometimes they're just like, whatever, I'm playing the Mirror, whatever. When you're playing against a Mirror Bloom match, it's miserable. It is not interactive, it's just not a good time. So I was playing against the Mirror. It wasn't fun. I honestly shouldn't have kept both hands. He went off both times, and sometimes Bloom just does that sometimes. Like, sometimes you just play it and like the other person just can't do anything. It just happens, and it's like from my standpoint, because I play the deck, I'm like, I'm not mad about it or anything. I'm not mad that I lost or anything like that. That's not a good way of approaching the game at all, is being mad. You can be mad about your misplays. You can be like, hey, I'm frustrated about that. But don't be mad that you lost. It's just a really negative attitude to have towards the game. So Mirror match happens, and whatever. Our games were very, very quick, you know. Bloom just does that sometimes. So, that happened, and then fourth round I played against Jund. And the first game, I just completely wrecked him. Like, he had a Dark Confidant on board, and the thing that's really interesting about Jund, that I don't necessarily know if I'd ever want to build this deck, is Jund does a lot of damage to themselves. And the thing is that Modern is a very aggressive format. Modern is dominated, almost 50% of the meta is aggro decks. So like, when you're dealing with a lot of decks that are aggressive, doing damage to yourself a lot of times is not necessarily the best thing. If you're talking about like Thoughtseize and stuff like that, but like, you know, a card like Dark Confidant or whatever, like Dark Confidant almost killed him, and he was like, oh yeah, I would have, you know, gotten rid of my own Dark Confidant, I would have like lightning bolted it or whatever. But then he was at 1 life, and then I played Inferno Titan, just did 3 damage to him and it killed him. Second and third game, second game was miserable. Second game was slow, it was grindy, he kept blowing up my lands. I basically wasn't playing Magic, it was really not a lot of fun, so that was pretty miserable. Yeah, it was so funny is, I say to my boyfriend Zane at one point, I was like, dude, Fulminator Mage is a really good card. He's like, the card's bad. He's like, it's miserable to play against. And I was like, yeah, no, it's fine. And then it was used against me, and I just, you know, and then he got Liliana's ult off, and the thing is that Liliana is okay against Bloom, I guess. Like, the thing is that, like, you know, I have Sigarda in the sideboard, so, like, that's helpful. And then I have Colony Guard and Plant Tokens, so for the use of the sacrifice, it doesn't really do too much. I mean, theoretically, if you have, like, 1 creature, it's good. If you have, like, a Primeval Titan, that's fine. And then I sideboarded in, like, ley lines against it to stop, Liliana and to stop, hand destruction cards, which weren't originally in my sideboard plans. I just kind of threw them in there. I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but that's what I did, and I didn't draw them, so that wasn't, you know, it didn't really necessarily matter if they were relevant or not, but yeah, like, that was the 4th round, and then 5th round, I can't remember what I played against at all. I think I don't remember what I played against. And then 6th round, last round, I was playing against Merfolk, and when I sat down and he was playing Merfolk, I was like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a bad day for me, because I don't have a very good Merfolk matchup. They have Vapor Snag, which basically wrecks your day, because you build up to that 6 mana to cast your Primeval Titan, and they just Vapor Snag it, and you're like, well, okay. So that happens, but yeah, so Primeval Titan is just, a Primeval Titan, Merfolk is a very difficult matchup for this deck. Oh no, I remember another game. I got the order mixed up in terms of rounds, but I played against Black-White Tokens, which I'm going to talk about Black-White Tokens actually in a little bit, because I have a different story to tell about that, but Black-White Tokens, I played against it. I feel like I'm favorable in Black-White Tokens. I don't know, though, because they have hand destruction cards, which are really bad against me. Like, the thing about hand destruction cards is because they can just simply remove your Amulet or your Summer Bloom, and if you don't draw one of those again, you're going very, very slow. And at one game, I think you won on, like, turn 4 or something, so there's just really not too much I could do, you know, interactive-wise, and the flyers just really killed me. Like, at one point, I even had, like, Dragon Lord Dramoka and Hornet Queen. It just wasn't enough. The guy had a really interesting deck build, though. He wasn't running Intangible Virtue, and he was claiming that he played the deck for a while, and I was like, he was running Honor of the Pure over Intangible, and I completely disagreed. I didn't say anything, because he said that he played the deck for a while, and I've been piloting the deck for a really long time, actually. Like, before I even made it Modern, I was piloting tokens for a very long time, for years, and I didn't want to say, hey, I think you're wrong in this decision, because he was like, yeah, I've been playing this deck for like 2 years, so I didn't want to say anything, but like, honestly, I disagreed with him completely. Intangible Virtue has literally won me games. It's an insane match card. He also wasn't mainboarding Zealous Persecution. I completely disagree. Zealous Persecution is amazing. It stops Twin for a turn, it pumps your dudes, it just does amazing things, so he had a really interesting build of the deck that he didn't run Bitter Blossoms, which I can agree with that, but I don't know how I felt about the build. I didn't think it was as good as, other things that I've seen, but he seemed to be doing pretty okay with it. So it was doing what tokens does. Like, the thing is that even without the, those cards or whatever, the deck, he's still producing a lot of tokens. He's still running, like, Lingering Souls and, like, things like that, so, and Spectral Possession, so, but I was reminded how great Black-White Tokens is. I was like, wow, that's really good, so he beat me. Like I said, I feel like I should have been favorable. I didn't go off either times. I'm having a really difficult time mulliganing with this deck. If you've ever, like, the thing is that if you play this deck, if you've played this deck, it's very difficult to mulligan. Like, Zane and the friend that went with us, was just saying, like, they feel like that's one of the hardest things about this deck, is knowing when to mulligan. Because not every hand that you draw, like, a lot of people think that Bloom is, like, the deck is insanely powerful. It is crazy good. But a lot of people, a lot of times, will be like, oh yeah, man, like, it's just, every game you're just gonna have an Amulet and a Summer Bloom and a Bounce Light. And I'm like, no. I was like, you can still win without those things. It just is very hard. Like, if you don't have an Amulet out, the game is slower. It's just slower. If you're in a thing where they're not really going off, if they're on a slower start or things like that, it's fine, but I'm having a difficult time mulliganing with this deck, because it's very tough to make those sort of decisions, because again, not every hand is going to be that easy laid out, Amulet, stuff like that. If you have an Ancient Stirrings, you're more inclined to keep your hand regardless, because you're like, okay, I have an Ancient Stirrings, and I am going to replace Serum Visions. I did mention that, but I am going to put Serum Visions in this deck. I just need to get them, and that's going to help out a lot with the scrying and stuff, and like, I'm only going to be running 3, but I think that's okay, because I don't have an extra slot in the deck right now, and I can't think of anything else that I would take out of the deck. Potentially I could get rid of a land. I'm actually considering taking out a land in the deck, because I just don't know if I need it. So I may do that, but I'm gonna stick with the Serum Visions for now and see how that plays out and stuff. But anyways, back to the Merfolk. So I was playing against Merfolk, and like I said, I feel like I have a very bad Merfolk. I won one game, I believe. I won one game, and then he won the other, and the last was super close. I entwined Tooth and Nail. I had 2 Amulets out and an Azusa. And I had a Dragon Lord Dramoka, and I don't honestly remember, like, what had happened. I remember entwining Tooth and Nail. I don't remember what I grabbed. I think I grabbed Xenagos Primeval. I don't think I did. I really don't remember how the game went, but I lost. I made a misplay. I should have grabbed the land, and I forgot he had Harbinger of the Tides in his hand, because he revealed it with Silvergill Adept, and I should have remembered that, and I didn't write it down. That was really stupid of me, and it was a misplay. Again, I'm not mad about it. That was a misplay, and I know for next time not to do that. So, like I said, it's the whole learning. This is all about Magic. It's all about, like, learning and stuff, and, like, realizing your misplays and things like that. So, that was that. So I made a misplay there, and again, cost me the game, but, hey, it's whatever. It could be mad, but that's not really gonna help anyone, so I'm just gonna be like, hey, I'm not gonna make that misplay for next time. So, that was that. Yeah, that was the whole tournament. It was like, Zane didn't do as well either. He went 3-3, I think. And our friend who came with us got into the top 8, so I was really happy for him. And like, I think it's interesting is, like, I was actually talking to one of my followers on Tumblr, and we were talking about, and I'm gonna do a whole video on this, about, like, people opening up packs and, like, the envy that you get and stuff like that, and, like, it's a really interesting point that I want to talk about in a different video, but something I was thinking about with that is, when your friends win, how do you react? I think that's really important. It says a lot about you as a Magic player. Like, when he got into the top 8, like, I was so happy for him. Like, I mean, was I a little bit bummed that, like, I just realized that Jund really wasn't a good matchup for me. I guess that's I don't know, or maybe he just top decked so beautifully and I just didn't have answers, or a lot of it maybe would have been the mulligans. Like, I think it was a combination of a bunch of different things. So, yeah, so, like, again, I'm not mad, oh my gosh, I got into the top 8. I was a little bit unhappy that I had to wait there longer because we all went together and I was tired, I wanted to go home. That was, like, the one thing I think that I was a little bit, like, I was just kind of chilling around. I was watching his games, though, and stuff, so it wasn't as bad. But, yeah, he got, like, I don't know, he got, like, 3rd or 4th, I think he got, like, 4th place or something, so that was really cool. he did that, and yeah. And it was a learning experience, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, like I said, I probably made a couple misplays, like a couple mulligan decisions that, you know, if I had done that, hadn't done those, I would have, you know, probably would have been in better shape, but I just got to get better at mulligans, and I know that, like, it's really important there are things you want to work on, it's really important to recognize, you know, those things that you need to focus on, because, you know, and knowing that you need to get better at those. So I just need to get better at that, and that's something that I will, in time with the deck, I'm gonna just get better. It's just, I haven't been playing this deck I haven't really been playing this deck for that long. Like, the thing is that, like, Zane, I'm jealous of him because he can build a deck and just be, like, good at it. And, like, he's just so much of a better Magic player than I am, and, like, he can just do that. Like, he built his, in Legacy, he built an Omni Show and Tell deck, which he's really sad because Dig Through Time got banned, if you guys heard about that. He's very unhappy about that. Like, he literally foiled out the entire deck because that's what he does, and it got banned, like, a couple days later. I felt so bad for him. I was like, I'm so sorry, dear. Like, you just spent all this money on the deck that it just... Dig Through Time is just banned in Legacy now. The card is so good. Oh my gosh. I love that card. Dig Through Time's amazing, by the way. If you've never played with it before, it's really good. Play it in EDH. It's not banned in EDH. It's crazy amazing. Okay, yeah, so, but yeah, no, I was happy for him. I mean, like, you know, like I said, could have done better, but hey, it's whatever. Black-white tokens, I want to talk about, oh, no, before I get into black-white tokens, I want to talk about a deck. One of the people who watches my videos actually asked me how I felt about Lantern Control. I don't remember who it is, I'm sorry, I'm really bad with names. I remember all of your names when, like, you guys comment and stuff, but I just couldn't remember who it was right now. But someone commented and said, hey, Tracy, how do you feel about Lantern Control? And I said, I don't really have an opinion about it because I've never played it or whatever. I watched Lantern Control. Zane played against it. Our friend who top 8'd played against it. It is the most miserable deck I think I have ever seen in my life. Please do not build this deck. It's not interactive at all. At all. Your opponent a lot of times just does not have answers. And the thing is that it's good. It stops your opponent from doing things, but it literally, you cannot do anything because they mill you out, they exile your stuff. A lot of times you just don't have answers at all to what they're doing. And the thing about that deck is that they can control what you draw, basically, with, like, how many times you mill and stuff like that. So, like, they can say, oh, I'm gonna mill you these cards. I see a land is on top. Cool, you're gonna draw that. And they have access to the knowledge in your hand because they have hand destruction cards, like Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek, so they can see that sort of stuff. So it is miserable. Like, I watch, again, our friend who got into the top 8 lost to that deck, Lantern Control. It's annoying. It is just, like... I just can't even express how much I just don't like this deck because I can't imagine how it would be fun to play. I'm trying to think about the joy of milling someone out like that and exiling their stuff, and I just can't even think about a time where it's like, you know, oh wow, can you have any responses at all to, like, my board? It's just like, I can't imagine that would be a fun thing. So I've officially decided that is probably my least favorite deck in Modern. I know someone just recently top 8'd like a GP with it or something, and don't get me wrong, I'm saying it's good. I'm not, like, saying it's a bad deck. I'm just saying that it's a miserable deck to play against. And I just watched him, and he watched my friend, and he just he literally could not do anything. Like, anything that because, again, all of his draws were controlled, like, in terms of, you know, what he was getting on top of his library, so nothing that he drew was relevant. Ensnaring Bridge was just wrecking, and it was just not fun at all to watch. And I sat there and, like, was literally, like, do you guys know what, those boogie boards are? Not like a boogie board like you go, like, surfing or whatever. I think that's what they're called, boogie boards. They're really cool. They have, like, a pen, but you can use, like, an actual pen with it. And instead of, like, taking the pen cap off, you can just, like, write on the cap or the bottom or whatever. And it's just, like, a board, and you can erase it and stuff like that, and you just write things on it. It's, like, a lot of players will keep track of, like, their life totals with it. So I actually drew a heart next to, like, his life total, because I just felt really bad. And he was like, thanks, Tracy. I was like, it's okay, you need support right now. But yeah, so that was that. I'm actually going to another one of those on Sunday, this coming up Sunday. So hopefully that should be okay. I'm playing Magic this weekend. I'm playing a lot of Magic this weekend, which is really awesome. So, I'm hoping that, hoping that sort of stuff, goes okay. And I, again, just get better at, like, playing the deck and stuff. And hopefully just no one builds Lantern Control, because I would just cry, literally, like, I honestly, I wouldn't scoop up my cards, but, like, it would just be not fun to play against. And I really hope I don't have to play against it, like, at all, ever. whatever. But yeah, Black White Tokens, I want to talk to you guys about that. So, okay, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that my first ever Modern deck was Black White Tokens. I tapped did a PBTQ with it, it was pretty great. And, which by the way, I keep thinking about how my deck list is on the internet, and that freaks me out, and it's awesome. Like, it's so weird. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm like, it wasn't like a Star City Games, like, thing or anything like that. It wasn't that, but it's just the fact that my deck list is on the internet. It makes me feel really cool. So that's really awesome. So anyways, so I was thinking about it, and, I was originally thinking that potentially in Modern I would potentially build Abzan. I wasn't sure. I traded for 2 Siege Rhinos, and I mean, like, is it a big deal that I'm not going to use Siege Rhinos? Like, no, not at all. That's something that I can trade away, and that's not a huge deal at all. Because they're being used in Modern and also being used in Standard right now. So basically, I traded for Siege Rhinos, and I had my Black White Tokens deck, and I was just like, I'm just not feeling it. I was like, I love it. It's a great deck. Like, it's something that when people, like, will, you know, like I said, the kid who was playing it, I was like, man, you're playing Black White Tokens. That's awesome. Like, when I see it, I get really excited. I'm like, it's one of my favorite decks, but it's not at the power level that I want it to be. And the thing is that I am spoiled entirely by Blue now. Like, I can't look at a lot of other Modern decks and view them in the same light anymore because of Bloom. Like, that is how much, like, I love this deck and how much I am, like, convicted that this is literally, like, one of the best Modern decks. That I just, it's not that I ignore other Modern decks and I'm like, psh, man, you're playing that. Like, no, it's not like that. It's just that I'm so into this deck that I just can't see myself playing at a deck that I feel like isn't at the power level that I need it to. And when I talked about, when I was talking about it back when I still had the deck constructed, and I played once, and I did a video talking about this, that I just don't know how to fix the deck. I don't know how to make it better. And I was talking to the guy who had Black White Tokens, and we were talking about Bitter Blossom, and you know, people have different opinions on this, and that's fine. My opinion about it is just that it's just a little bit too slow. Like, on turn 2, you cast, like, Bitter Blossom, you have to wait until your next upkeep, you get a token, it doesn't have haste, you can't swing with it. It's just, it's like, is it really, like, it's good, don't get me wrong, it's just like, in Modern, I don't know, I think it's a little bit too slow, I don't know, and I feel like the thing is that the deck has access to a lot of really good removal. It has Path to Exile, one of the best removal cards in the format, and then it has hand destruction cards. You have Thoughtseize and you have Inquisition. You can literally have, like, 10 disruption cards in your deck, which is awesome, but, like, it's just, sometimes it's just not enough, and, you know, I don't know, I wanted to take it apart, and so I did, and I surprised myself at how much I didn't want of the deck, because originally, like I said, I was thinking if I built Abzan, I would have Lingering Souls and Sorin, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna build Abzan. I'm building 3 other Modern decks right now. I'm building Sultai, Merfolk, and Elves, and which those are all slow process. I am by no means going out and building them all right now. I am just collecting cards for them so that I have cards that I can use. Don't get me wrong, Black White Tokens is a good deck. It's a very good starter deck, I think, getting into, like, if you're getting into Modern. It's also not that expensive too of a deck. It can be like a $200 deck and stuff, and you can also get the Modern Event deck with Black White Tokens, which is great, because you can get that, and it's like, I think it started off MSRP at $75, and then I think it's since gone up a little bit because it's, like, out of print and stuff. I think it's something like $80 or $85 or something. It's not that bad. Like, it comes with a lot of good cards. Like, it comes with, I think, 4 Path to Exiles. It's 3 or 4 Path to Exiles, then it comes with, like, an Inquisition, which Inquisition dropped a little bit in price. It's actually, like, only, like, 12 now. Before it was, like, a little bit more. I think it was, like, 13 or 14 or 15 or something like that. So, by the way, did you guys see that Jace Vryn's Prodigy literally jumped up a couple days ago? It was, like, 40. It was, like, at a steady, like, 35, 40, and then it just jumped up to, like, $85. It was crazy. Oh, gosh. If you have them, now is probably a really good time to, like, trade them off. Especially if you have, like, a foil one or something like that. Yeah, people want those. But yeah, was there other things that I wanted to say? Yes, there is something that I want to say. I will be at New York Comic Con on Friday, which is this coming up Friday. So if you're there, I'm cosplaying as Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I will literally be green. It's very, very difficult to miss me. So if you see me, hey, just comment below on my video, or if not, you can just say hi. I'll be friendly. I try to be a friendly person. And I'm also going with some friends, so I will be surrounded by a couple of people, not like a massive crowd, but I will be with a couple of my friends. and I feel like there's more stuff that I need to talk to you guys about, and it is just not coming. I literally did not plan it out what I was gonna say at all. Like, it kind of blew my mind. It blows my mind sometimes that I can just, like, talk so, like, fluidly. That I think is really cool. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, this is completely not related to Magic at all. Have you guys ever played the game The Oregon Trail before? I had to play it for my American literature class, which, by the way, if you don't know what it is, you should look it up. It's really frustrating. It's a very frustrating game. I had to play it for my American literature class, and then I have to write a reflection about it. And so I played it yesterday, and so I was naming my party, like my family, and I couldn't think of names for my people. So I was like, Mary, Sue, like, John, I couldn't think of names at all. And I was like, felt like the pressure was like real. Whenever I have to think of names like forcibly like that, I just can't do it. Like with The Sims, I'm really bad at it. I take like 5 years. So I named one of my characters Zane after my boyfriend, and he got lost twice in the game, the character, and then he got a broken leg. So I did like screenshots of the game, and I was like, Zane, stop being like a disruption to my family. Like, you're causing me so much trouble. Which, that was really funny. So yeah, that was that, and it was a frustrating game, man. Like, I saw my score, and then I was like, wow, and like 2 of my kids died in it, and it was just not very good. I'm not very good at, like, video games, even though I like them. I'm just really bad at them, so I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm not gonna be good at this, and I wasn't, so yeah. Okay guys, I gotta stop talking. That's it. Enjoy the rest of your day / night. Let me know if you're going to Comic-Con. Comment below. I hope you guys open up, like, Battle for Zendikar. If you guys pull anything cool, you should let me know, because I am really excited to start drafting. I'm really excited to start drafting Battle for Zendikar for a lot of reasons. 1, because drafting. 2, because I want to get better at drafting. 3, because you get to keep your full art lands with your packs, which I think is awesome. Like, you open up a pack, and normally, you know, like, sometimes it depends on, like, the set. Sometimes you keep the land in or not, but you take the land out, which I think is awesome. So I'm really excited because I get full art lands there, because fat packs are, like, ridiculously expensive. That makes me so mad. And, like, I was supposed to go to a fat pack tournament at my local game store, and they canceled it because just fat packs are ridiculously expensive. Like, they were going to charge $40, and this was before anyone knew. Like, this tournament was created back before people even knew that there were going to be 80 full art lands in there, and the prices just shot up. And one of the stores that I play Modern at sometimes around me when I go to school, it's actually charging, the dude's charging like $40 for fat packs, and I'm just like, can I have like 10? That's a lie. And speaking of magic cards, Zane has been looking for like Gideons from the new Gideon from Battle for Zendikar. And he texted me yesterday and he was like, so I bought a box. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and then I was like, did you pull anything good? He's like, yeah, I pulled an expedition. I was like, great. And we've been talking about it. That was his first expedition. He doesn't open up any others, and I haven't opened up one yet. And hopefully I will. That'd be really, really awesome. I really want to open up an expedition really badly, because I just want to trade it for value. I don't want it. I just want to trade it for value so that I can get, like, Snapcaster mages. So anyway, so he texted me, and then he's like, yeah, I bought another box. And I was like, and then he's like, yeah, I bought a Russian box. I was like, Zane, I was like, take it easy with all these boxes that you're buying. It's funny. It's fine. Like, he has, like, store credit and stuff. It's not really a huge deal. But yeah, like, a Russian box, that's really cool. Okay, all of this, not the point. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.